Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What's up, Doom Nation, and welcome back. You are listening to the Two Doom Men podcast. As always, it's Skaggs and yours truly, the Captain. And what do we got going on today? A little mishap.
Yeah, that's all
misfire
right.
going on, but you know the show must continue.
Yeah, man, we'll just riff today. I mean, we got a couple of topics we could talk about. We were supposed to
Yes,
have
sir.
on from Twitter based Kiki. She is very interesting, has a very interesting story. We are going to reschedule with her, so keep an eye out for that possibly next week, maybe
Yes.
Tuesday or Wednesday. She has an interesting background in
Little
pharmaceutical world, healthcare world. We'll leave it vague so that this could go on YouTube, because that episode definitely probably will not be able to go on YouTube. So you'll be able to probably listen to that one with Kiki on audio and like Rumble, but we'll probably have to keep it off.
She has quite the interesting story that we are excited to hear in detail.
So keep an eye out for that. Yep. Go ahead, Cap. Sorry.
So what else do we got going on now?
Well, today was interesting. I woke up this morning and saw there was a supposed assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin. And I thought that would have been one of our topics we could discuss anyway. And we got tweets of the week. There was a very interesting tweet by one of our favorite people in the Twitter world, in the gun world, Maj Toure, that kind of got him into some trouble. And it's an interesting concept. I think me and you could debate it once we get to it.
And I think I saved, I'm double checking right now, a tweet from good old, is it? Yes, it is. From the devil herself, Hillary Clinton.
All right. Yeah, she's been active lately, man. She's in, she's on there with the keyboard warrior. She's there.
Yeah, well, it's campaign season is unfolding, and she needs to be on the battlefield.
Campaign season's unfolding, and the shit winds are blowing.
Yeah, you can't, sacrifice people for Satan and not get away scot-free,
All right, so let me set the stage for everybody here with what's going on in Moscow.
Yes.
And I got this from Reuters, and it says, Russia says Ukraine tried to kill Putin with nighttime drone attack on the Kremlin. And it says, Russia accused Ukraine on Wednesday of attacking the Kremlin with drones overnight in an attempt to kill President Vladimir Putin, the most serious allegation that Moscow has leveled at Kyiv in more than 14 months of war. President Volodymyr Zelensky promptly denied any Ukrainian involvement, telling a press conference in Helsinki, "We don't attack Putin or Moscow. We fight on our own territory." Worth noting, Helsinki is in what is that country? Right on the border of Russia.
Kazakhstan?
No. In Northern Europe, that just joined NATO. Also, damn it, why am I'm blanking on the name? They just a country right on the. Damn it, why can't I remember? Anyway, Finland. Sorry, Finland. Yeah. Finland. So Zelensky is in Finland, who also just joined NATO, and they're there. We're all on the same team. So let me keep going here just to continue setting the stage. A senior Ukrainian presidential official said the incident instead suggested Moscow was preparing a major terrorist provocation. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Washington had not been able to validate the reported attack and that the Russian assertions should be taken with a very large shaker of salt. So not even a grain, a shaker. Russia reserved the right to retaliate, Putin's office said. The Russian hardliners demanded swift retribution against Zelensky himself. 2 uncrewed aerial vehicles were aimed at the Kremlin as a result of timely actions taken by the military and special services with the use of radar warfare systems. The devices were put out of action, the presidency said in a statement. We regard these actions as a planned terrorist act and an attempt on the president's life carried out on the eve of Victory Day, the May 9th parade, at which the presence of foreign guests is also planned. The Russian side reserves the right to take retaliatory measures where and when it sees fit. I'm going to play the video here for all of you who are watching. You could see it. It's also on our TikTok. It's on our socials. I think it's also on our YouTube.
Yeah, it's on our Instagram. Yep.
I mean, there it is. It's a little tiny drone.
Yep.
Like it, we'll get into the meat and potatoes here and kind of give our takes on what exactly we think happened. It seems like, at least to me, Cap, that it looks like one of those it doesn't look like one of the drones that our military uses, those gigantic ones that are like the size of fighter jets.
The
It
one
looks like a drone that's like the size of
one that you could buy at a store.
like a
at
big
Target.
model airplane
Yeah.
that you could like kind of throw and then it would get going. After that, I know the Ukrainians in the war have really utilized those, even in just like fighting ground troops. Like they've used these little tiny drones to just like drop grenades on people. They're trying to be like a little bit creative with whatever they have. So they do have some history of using these things. I don't know, man. Before I go off on my take, let's get your take. You're the conspiracy guy.
Yeah.
Again, like real quick, just to set the stage, like me and the captain have no idea. We're not there. We don't have like Secret Service intel. We're just gonna speculate on what we think happened.
Yeah, this is all pure. I don't even have a conspiracy for it. I mean, we were talking, it's hard to believe anything that comes out of Russia and Ukraine because there is Russian government propaganda, there's Ukrainian government propaganda, there is American propaganda. This story could be propagated 3 times before we even got this, this article on Twitter. So that's a huge issue I have. Secondly, it seems like a feeble attempt. That is a large stronghold of a building, and we're sending in like a little RC racer plane to bomb Putin. I don't know, like, what they thought. Like, was the roof gonna, crumble upon it, or was there a larger bomb strapped to it? But is it possible that Ukrainian operatives are in Moscow? Yes. Is there definitely plans on the table to assassinate Putin? 100%. You would be a terrible military if you weren't planning such a.
I mean, some of our own congressmen, I think Lindsey Graham, literally said that we should assassinate Putin himself. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. You're right.
No. Could it also very well be Americans doing this? Yeah. Could it be, for all I know, our taxpayer money bought those drones and we sent them over to Ukraine so they could use them in such a style.
Right. Or was like a CIA agent, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Zelensky did deny any involvement, right?
Right, he did. He says we fight on our own territory.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a failed attempt. So, obviously no politician or elitist on this planet will ever take, we fucked up. They'll never admit fault, no matter who you are, as long as you're in power. But yeah, it could go. It's such a mystery because, like we said, it's all speculation. We don't know what really happened. Russia could have sent this itself.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna touch.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
this could be like a 4D chess move in a sense by Putin or Russia, or maybe even like their own CIA. Like, just because an op happened doesn't mean that like the president of any country even knows about it, right? So like this could be a false flag that the Russians carried out on themselves to now justify a counterattack,
full-fledged invasion
on Zelensky himself, or a large attack. I know over the weekend I showed you a couple of videos too. They launched a gigantic like missile barrage against Ukraine. One of the things I've noticed from this war is that like when something like this happens, like when they step like across like the line, like each side, every time they step across the line, the other side then steps across the line again.
Right.
Like they'll escalate in response each time. I think this one is dangerous if it was the Ukrainians, because we've talked ad nauseum about like the danger of nuclear war breaking out or Putin using a nuke. And my opinion is like the only reason why Vladimir Putin or the Russians would use a nuke is because they think that either Vladimir Putin thinks that his life is in danger personally, or the party, like their deep state is in danger of being toppled, where their back's up against the wall and they're like, fuck it, we're not going to go down without, taking a couple people with us. A lot of people have voiced that concern, and now you kind of see that playing out. They haven't used a nuke or anything yet, but now you've seen at least some sort of odd attack.
Yeah, but do you think it wakes anybody up? All these pro-Ukraine war hawks that the media has created, This
No,
is
I don't
just a
think it does.
talking point.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything for them. They don't, because you would I think you had sent me a quote from a 1986 or whatever book,
1984. Yeah.
1984, that you've been reading, where it was like where they just tricked the people into their own prisons or whatever. Remember that quote you sent me?
Sure. There was a quote along the lines
Yeah.
of I don't remember it exactly. I was
Hold
also
on,
talking about it's good, man. It's a great book. I highly recommend everybody read George Orwell's 1984. I'm doing a reread currently, so it's interesting to see how the man it's interesting
There
to
we
see
go.
how a lot of the things kind of were a little prophetic, and
Yeah.
also how much, real quick, how much like terminology and sayings and phrases that we all use come from that book.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Yeah.
In a way, the worldview of the party imposed itself most successfully on people incapable of understanding it. They would be made to accept the most flagrant violations of reality because they never fully grasped the enormity of what was demanded of them and were not sufficiently interested in public events to notice what was happening. By lack of understanding, they remained sane. They simply swallowed everything, and what they swallowed did them no harm. Because it left no residue behind, just as a grain of corn will undigested will
Come
go
out in your shit.
undigested through the body of a bird.
Yeah, come out in your shit.
This is these people who are these newfound liberal war hawks that are pro-Ukraine because Russia man bad will cheer something like this. Yay, we're trying to kill Putin, and it could potentially kick off a nuclear war. And they don't understand the enormity of it. They don't understand the reality of the situation. Flip side, Russia could just be attacking itself.
Right.
So they now have the narrative to go, we're going to go topple Kiev. We're going to march in there and destroy everything. It's that's how corrupt things have gotten. If you think about it, like we're so deeply entrenched in the nonsense. And I know I'm kind of like rambling on right now, but like, we're to the point where we are considering Russia is attacking Russia so it can then start,
It shows how, regardless of if it's the truth or not, like the danger war poses and the danger like the fog of war can pose, it really doesn't even matter if they did it to themselves or if Ukraine did it. The risk of nuclear war is there regardless. That's why any sane politician or leader, their primary position and concern should be negotiate a peace deal. Yeah. Let's put this thing to bed. No proxy war with the country that has the most nuclear weapons in the world. Because, again, the details don't matter. These sorts of things are going to happen, and these sorts of things can lead to a nuclear exchange. It's nuclear brinksmanship. Like each side is ready for an excuse, a reason to use the weapons against each other.
Finger on the trigger.
This is not the first time. There was also the missiles that landed in Poland, remember, and killed a few people a couple months ago, and
nobody knew who shot them. Yeah,
and at the time, if you remember, like I'm not Vladimir Putin. Obviously, is one of the largest liars to ever live. He's a former Soviet KGB agent, but Zelensky himself, when that attack on Poland happened, he immediately blamed it on Putin and the Russians, and now. If if you're going to say that the Russians launched missiles into Poland and killed people, that's an attack on NATO. That would trigger, I believe it's Article 5, which means everybody's now at war. Everybody in NATO, every country in NATO is now at war with Russia. That was not true, what Zelensky said, that it was Russia. Found out it was a Ukrainian, like supposedly it was a Ukrainian misfire of a missile, or was it another false flag? Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. But regardless, Zelensky lied about that. So do I also take Zelensky's word at it? That this was not him? No, he's not been proven.
His middle name is Voldemort. His first name is Voldemort. People need to wake up and realize 1,000,000,000% that Zelensky is no more than a paid operative who is sitting in a very powerful seat.
Well, he's legitimately an actor as well.
Yes,
he was an actual actor, and like you could look back and Google some of his like previous performances. I think he's a comedian as well on Ukrainian television. And if you look at him now, he has like the green hoodie and the like the army fatigue pants. He's always in that. Yeah, why is that?
In character,
right? He's in character, right? His country is at war. He's the president. He's playing the role of like the Slavic warlord. right? Like in the role. I have not seen him wear a suit since the war has broken out.
I,
He's
the
not a
last time
military
we
man. He
saw
never
us-
was, but he's always
Oh, yeah.
dressed in fatigues now.
Yeah. The last time we saw him in a suit was when he sat down and spoke to Trump, and he had
Right.
that petrified
Yes.
look on his face.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. He's just as dirty as they we are playing with there's no good characters in this war. You know what I mean? It's all just evil and propaganda and
Sure.
nefarious reasons.
Hey, look,
And-
if this is the way they want to fight, though, I'm all for it. Like, I'm all for them launching drones at each other's houses and
Yeah.
trying to take each other out. Like, why don't they tell all the soldiers to like stand by? We're gonna
Yeah.
take this mano a mano. Like, maybe they won't fist fight each other, but let's just try and let's just go. Why don't Zelensky and Putin do like dueling assassination
Pistols
attempts?
at noon?
Yeah, pistols
Yeah.
at noon. That would be dope. But maybe drones at noon or
Yeah.
something like that. And then the victor goes the spoils.
Yeah,
Whoever
the only problem,
gets
like I
killed
said, there's
wins.
no
Whoever loses.
profit to be made. I guarantee you America wouldn't agree with that. Isn't China and President Winnie the Pooh, isn't he trying to get peace deals in between with Russia and Ukraine?
Yeah,
I think like the
President Xi,
weirdest
sure.
story, like he's the only one like, all right guys, how about we talk about peace? Yeah.
Yeah, he has tried to play peacemaker. They are trying to kind of supplant the U.S. as like the world power and the so yeah, of course, it's in his interest to make a peace there and be the world police in a sense.
It'd be funny to watch though, like America be like, if you broker peace in Ukraine, we're gonna fucking attack you.
Yeah. Yeah, and don't forget, man, there was a peace deal, brokered on the table back in April of 2022, and Boris Johnson went there, and he supposedly he killed the peace deal, told Zelensky, "Don't take it. We're gonna back you, and you're gonna be able to win this war in the long term." Like again, just our main point here is that the war has to end because the longer it goes, the more things like this are going to occur.
Meltdown.
Right. The more things like this are going to occur, more incidents are going to occur. And each time they happen, there is a chance of nuclear war every time. And if there's a chance of nuclear war, that means that like the show's over. The podcast is over. Our lives are over. The human species most likely ceases to exist on planet Earth. And
all that'll be left is Joe Biden in a basement with a full diaper
and a couple cockroaches, right? As the great Robin Williams once said. And again, like, is it worth it over the Donbass region? We've said that how many times we've said that? Like, have you this gray place? Have you ever Google Earth? The Donbass. It's like a strip mall, gray parking lot strip malls. The trees never have leaves. Now it's all bombed to shit. It's such a miserable place.
Google that, then Google Fiji.
Yeah, or if it was like Paradise Island in the Bahamas, all right, maybe we got to defend that place. Maybe it's worth ending the human species for. But I don't know about fucking the Donbass. Just give them their independence and let them be their way.
It's all the backroom dark money. That's why they've used Ukraine for eons to launder their money. That's why there's no surprise that Hunter Biden had business dealings there. He sat on board of directors out in Ukraine. I think Nancy Pelosi's nephew, I think somebody who's related to Gavin Newsom worked out there. There's a shit ton of shady characters. There was biolabs out there that America first denied having, then had to admit they did have. Ukraine is a very interesting place. It appears that like all the world leaders could go there and launder their money for a price.
It's also the frontier of the empire, right? Of the American empire. Yeah. And that's why the war is, essentially going on in the first place. The deep state, the empire would love to extend the frontier of the empire into, through Russia and now on the border of northern China. Like they'd love Russia to be a vassal state of the NATO Western Empire. And then, then we have now another proxy, the empire now is bordering China, the northern part of China. Yeah. So, they'd love it to be a world empire, I'm sure.
Well, that's the goal. One world government, one world empire,
Yeah, maybe not, though, because they're always going to need a war. So there's always going to have to be some sort of enemy they're going to have to placate somewhere. Right.
But I always, thought to myself, the main reason we're giving Ukraine so much money is something I said a long time ago. When Trump was in office, all the dark money that was being moved around the world through the White House stopped, right? They could no longer pay their people, or Trump would catch that. And when Biden got into the office, they had to pay back everybody for the past 4 years. And look how much money we have blindly sent to Ukraine. And it's funny because the other day, Joe Biden was tweeting about the how America might default, and the Republicans are holding the economy hostage with Mitch.
It's Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy, yeah, and all this stuff. And I really was just like, well, then maybe we shouldn't have sent all that fucking money to Ukraine. It'd be nice to have a little bit of it back, you know?
Yeah, man. What a time to be alive. What a group of people who run the show, who are in government. Yeah. I mean, and again, like, you don't have to even get into the conspiracy angle and the corruption of Ukraine. I mean, just like a moral point of view. These people are sociopaths, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're willing to end the human race to enrich the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
Like, they're willing to take that gamble. They really are. If you've listened to, like, you know, Harry J. Sisson, these young kids who come up and they're basically paid DNC operatives, or even the old neocons, like, they're out there selling you, man, no, it's really not any risk. We really don't see any chance of Putin using nukes or anything like that. Like, they are legit. They're not only flirting with nuclear war, but they're out there selling you that it's actually not a risk.
Yep.
My opinion, it's never worth the risk. I got a kid now. I'm sure you want to have children. So many other people in the world have kids. We'd like the human race and the earth to continue as a place where everybody could live peacefully. We would not like there to be an end of the world button. But these people are willing to fucking flirt with that to make money. Like, there's no other way to make money in the world.
There's conspiracies that the deep state has shipping containers in America and off the coast of America. So if there is ever a day where the swamp will be truly exposed, like ground zero evidence, no, like, you know, like a no going back point, they will bomb their own country. Like, they
reset.
will.
That would be the ultimate reset instead of the great reset. They have like a bunker in Colorado Springs and that thing up in Antarctica, right, or the North Pole, where they store the seeds so they could like restart everything.
Yeah,
dude, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they're flirting with it right now.
Before they fall, they're gonna have to give one last ditch effort, and I'm sure you put it pretty well just now. There's a reset button. You know, just blast us back to being cavemen and start over.
Let me ask you, because I tweeted this before, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying a while ago when we kind of just started this conversation about how, like, people don't even know what's going on in the 1984 quote. You know, people are kind of apathetic to how close we are to nuclear war. So I tweeted before, I was like, so I don't want there to be nuclear testing again. Like, that hasn't been a thing now for a long time. Like, the governments and the militaries testing nukes.
Is it North Korea though?
Like, no, they don't actually. I don't think they're actually testing any nukes. They just test missiles, that the delivery systems. But I'm like, but would modern day video footage of a nuclear detonation in 2023 going viral on social media wake up the masses to the danger these nuclear weapons pose again? What do you think?
Oh, 50-50. I don't have a solid answer for you, so I didn't really have time to think about that. But do I think it would wake people up? Because it would, because they do have to see the level of what the destruction would be. I don't think they know what they're asking for, as in most things. They hate the Second Amendment. They don't understand why it's a terrible thing to get rid of it. But then there's, you know, that brainwashed war hawk is going to see something like that and be like, let him fucking fly, like, you know, saying for us to bomb Russia, because we've come to see, like, Trump derangement syndrome. These people, they will throw their values out the window. They'll throw the rule book, the playbook out the window. They will become complete fascist dictators if it means that their point of Orange Man bad stands as Orange Man bad. So if Russia Man bad is another derangement syndrome, there's going to be people who are going to be like, we should be starting off like that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we should be nuclear
Yes.
testing. Yeah, again, like
Yeah.
I don't want one. I don't think
I
it's a
don't
good idea.
disagree with you.
It's obviously pollution, right? Like it's
Yeah.
if you're detonating nukes everywhere, there's going to be nuclear radiation
That
that
would
has to be dealt with.
That would be interesting for the green the green
Right.
people.
If they would be,
we gotta support Ukraine. So we need to test these nukes. So
it would then set the precedent of all the countries again, like now testing nukes like we did, during the Cold War with the Soviet Union and stuff. It's just like a theoretical question. Like I think people have forgotten, or now there's people who are
100%,
or people who are alive now that are
forgotten.
young. I don't know, have they watched nuclear test footage from like the Cold War? Probably not. They don't realize the level of destruction that nuclear weapon could affect.
I would definitely say it does need to be reiterated, because we've seen it in our own time. With me and you specifically lived through 9/11. We were obviously, we weren't in the city or in the Twin Towers where we lived through it or anything like that, but we were young and impressionable. You must have been in the 6th grade. I was in the 7th grade.
I think spot on. I think I was in the 6th grade.
Yeah. And so, we were very young, and that was scary and that was terrifying. And we obviously didn't have a say in the nation. There was nothing we could do. We just had to go along with it. Our parents bought into the Patriot Act, all that stuff. And then January 6th happens, and we have people like Chuck Schumer saying like, this is worse than 9/11.
And he was in there at the time too.
Yeah. And you get all these young new voters who weren't alive. You're 18, 19.
Yeah.
You weren't alive during 9/11.
For me and you, isn't that a crazy thought to even think that there's
Yes.
now like adults who weren't alive when 9/11
Yes.
happened? Like, I don't know. I don't feel that old yet, but we are kind of
I know.
old. Yeah.
Yes. And so, like, I think it does need to be reiterated what a nuclear bomb can do.
Right. Like me and you were born like right at the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Right. So like me and you didn't see the nuclear testing or anything like that. Our parents did.
My father is a Vietnam War vet. I know all about,
right.
What I mean?
Even though we didn't see it ourselves, like I like history, so I'm well aware. I've watched the test footage of all these things, the danger they pose. Like these kids you're talking about, the post 9/11 generation, they're not even aware of like the danger, like 9/11 post, let alone the nuclear war and the Cold War.
Because they sit there and they agree with Chuck Schumer that January 6th is worse than 9/11. They all learned about it in school. They didn't live through it. They don't understand the repercussions of what the Patriot Act did. They don't understand that, and the schools sure as hell aren't teaching them that. So for these uneducated younger people to agree that J6 is worse than 9/11, they need a refresher course in what could happen with nuclear warfare.
Yeah,
because to them, it's probably just a Call of Duty move,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right, it was like with the 25 kill streak, right?
Yeah,
you got 25 kills in a row, you got a nuke, and the game is over. You won,
and everybody on your team lives. Yeah,
exactly. So there, but then that was like our generation though too. Still, we're playing like that was Modern Warfare 2, perhaps. I don't think they even have that.
I never got 25 kills in a row. So.
But man, I'm not advocating for any country to test a nuke, man. But I don't know. Maybe we need to start posting.
Let me ask you this: it would cause major problems, but would you blame, if this was an actual attack on the Kremlin, would you blame Russia to start preparing to test nuclear weapons?
I would not want them to. But what do you mean? What do you mean by blame them? Like I'm not in a like, am I in a place to blame them? I'd say no, they shouldn't, but would they? I mean, they probably would.
Yeah.
Or, maybe.
It's everything's just again an inch closer.
Yeah, this is why the war is not worth it, which I said before. Like the chance of that happening, regardless if it actually was legit or not, is on the table. And the longer this draws out, the longer chance it has of turning into nuclear exchange. Like at least, man, I will give Trump credit to the end of time. He's right on this. He's got the right policy. If he is to become president, I'm confident he will be able to end the war right away.
Oh yeah.
I don't know though if we have that long to wait until if he were to even win. Do we have another year and a half, 2 years? Of how many more close calls like this are going to happen?
So that's my point. Being my next point that I want to bring up here is I'm looking at things from an American conspiracy standpoint. So Joe Biden is my president. Joe Biden is not doing well in the polls. He never has. We're getting into the election cycle. It's going to be a crazy, crazy election cycle. They are going to need a lot of distractions because he's going to be hiding in the basement again. America, the establishment, Joe Biden needs this war to happen. And they're going to make sure it happens. Then war is good for elections. War is good for re-election. War is good for a presidency. He needs this war to happen. They're not interested in talking peace deals. Anything is on the table. And what a great distraction it'll be from going to the polls and voting, or what a great distraction it'll be for you to not be listening to what Trump's saying if Putin has his finger on the trigger.
Yeah,
he's got his finger.
You have to mail in vote because we can't leave the house right now because there's nuclear sirens are going off, right? Like they would bring back the fear.
Yeah.
I could see them. Yeah, I could see them. Bringing back the.
They need this to happen.
Get in the bunkers, like the schools. Get under the tables, etc. Like you have to mail and vote. Don't go to the polls on that day because I'd put nothing past them.
Yeah, they need this to get as crazy as they can, because they've proven that they could move easily through chaos, and they need this chaos to get them to November.
Sure, that's a great way to put it, man. Again, and like if you think that. I'm not ruling out what you're saying. I don't think it's crazy. And if you do think that we're crazy for making that point, just remember the people in charge are threatening the end of the world over the Donbass region. So how far-fetched is to say that they also wouldn't, like they wouldn't use that some other way nefariously to a means to their end. So man, I hope cooler heads prevail in this regard.
Yeah. Yes.
And we avoid.
Or as we said the other day, let's just kick World War III off. We are fucking wasting time and energy now.
So either cooler heads will prevail, or they'll literally melt off because of from nuclear fallout.
What did Homelander say? Let's light this candle. Sure, I'll lose everything, but then I'll have nothing to lose.
Yeah, I guess. So. Do you want to get into? Do you got anything else you want to discuss, or do you want to go into?
Yes, I do. This popped into my head. It'll be a short segment. JP. What's her fucking title?
Jean-Pierre.
Yeah. Illegal immigration is down 90% since Biden took office. And then when our good old boy Dorsey, the following day had a follow-up question for that, angered her to no fucking end. I'm going to go ahead and say illegal immigration is up by 90% since Biden took office. Where does this number come? When I read that, I sat back and said to myself, okay, we're going to win this because there's no way anyone is buying this shit anymore. There's stuff I understand. Follow the science, go get vaccinated, wear your mask. I get it. People listen to that shit. But to see 1 second of what's going on at the border and to be like, it's down 90. There was somebody in their office the other day arguing with another coworker going, no, it's down 90%. On what fucking planet?
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's so this is I guess this is from yesterday. So he pressed her again the next day.
I like the new haircut. I'll give her that.
She changes her hair pretty often, like almost every day. She must have a good hairstyle, so give her that.
That's where our taxpayers' money's going.
Oop, are we not hearing this?
No, I can't hear it.
That's interesting.
Press play.
Nope.
Yeah, no, I can't hear it.
All right, I don't know, man. They updated Zoom lately, and it's acting funny. But I mean, do you remember every once in a while? I think one of the biggest lessons from the last couple of years is just what a fraud, phony the job of press secretary is. Dave Smith calls him the president's official liar.
Yeah.
Like no matter
for both parties, for both parties,
what it is. Yeah, like that's one of those. Immigration is down. Illegal immigration is down.
Illegal immigration
is
down.
One of
90%.
Those lies that reminds me of the time where The Ice Queen couldn't just spew it out of her mouth that like
be
eating
healthy,
good
yeah.
and exercising was good for you, and in the face of COVID.
Yeah.
It's like such an obvious, like inconsistency that doesn't jive with reality, that even an NPC might have a critical thought when they watch it. Yeah, so
an NPC
that's
might
the nature of
become
the job.
sentient.
Yeah, maybe, right. Yes, it might red pill a couple NPCs.
What?
Right, like what? There was no negative cost to saying yes, eating good and exercise is good for you. They didn't even have to. Again, they didn't have to admit or say that it would prevent COVID. She just said yes, that is good for you.
Yeah.
And here, illegal immigration is down 90%. When everybody's seen the fucking videos of the swarm of illegal immigration coming, people who live down there on the border, I'm sure I've seen it. It's just such an obvious lie, and she's not doing a good job. Her job is definitely in jeopardy, I think, now.
Oh yeah,
she's had a couple, especially after this one. This one was real bad.
Yeah.
Her job's definitely in jeopardy.
And I mean, and then they dodge questions about Hunter Biden. I don't care who's in office, and I don't care who the press secretary is. You want a diversity hire, you want a white man up there, I don't give a shit. I don't think especially at this point in time, whether Trump's in office or Clinton or Obama or Biden, the American people have questions. You don't get to say no comment. You don't get to dodge.
What are you
questions.
there for, right? Aren't you in the theory, like behind you being there, that you are going to take questions for the president and whatnot? But like instead, they're there saying we're not going to take questions.
Yeah, no comment. That should be unacceptable. I don't care what hard questions you give Trump's press secretary. There's no more dodging questions. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
What was the other thing I wanted to say? Shit. All right. Well, on to, I guess.
Let's go tweets of the week. So we got some meat and potatoes here in tweets of the week as well. But let's start off first with just some normal tweets. You see that, Cap? Trying to make sure that.
Yes, I am. I do see it.
Sure here that this ain't going. So this is my first tweet, and this is from Jesse Kelly. This is a good one. And Jesse Kelly goes, "We're already losing Biden to dementia. Now with this news, Kevin McCarthy might be president soon." What is he referring to? He's sharing a New York Post article that says oral sex is fueling an epidemic of throat cancer, doctor warns. So read between the lines. What exactly is Jesse Kelly saying? He's saying we're already losing Biden to dementia. Now with this news, Kevin McCarthy might be president soon. Who's the third person in line to the
Kamala
president?
Harris is on her
Kevin
knees.
McCarthy, right? So he's inferring that Kamala Harris has sucked so much cock over the years that she's gonna die from throat cancer, according to the New York Post story. This was a brilliant tweet by Jesse Kelly. I gotta hand it to him.
That is pretty funny. This New York Post, though, of giving blowjobs is causing throat cancer, is from the CDC. So right then and there, I know it's not. There's no value to believing in this. So
you think they'd
keep on sucking.
You think they keep on sucking? You think they want more people to suck dick so that they can't get pregnant?
Yeah.
That's usually in line.
Well, you could only suck dick if you're trans, and then you can't get cancer.
Okay, we're gonna skip the big one for now. Let's get all the little tweets here out of the way.
What do we got here? Brooklyn dad defiant. It's hilarious to me that Trumpers tried. Oh, I remember this one. Trumpers tried to turn the name Brandon into a slam, and now that we have reclaimed it with Dark Brandon, they are very much not amused and even butthurt by it. Laughing face. Need to take a breath before I go into this. This is the dumbest shit I've ever fucking read in my life. First off, Brandon, calling Biden Brandon and slamming him for it, started because a NASCAR event was chanting "fuck Joe Biden," and the little reporter who is beheld by the corrupt media industry that has to protect this old man couldn't even admit that the crowd was screaming "fuck Joe Biden." She said, "Oh, do you hear that? They're saying let's go Brandon," when it was clearly "fuck Joe Biden."
Yeah, so in effect, it was them who created the Brandon thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was like the corporate news covering for Biden.
They covered him so hard that we gave him the name Brandon. And the second thing is, which maybe you could explain this to me, I don't get it. Dark Brandon is not a good look either. Dark Brandon is a slam in itself. Are we comparing Joe Biden to Darth Vader? Like, there's other than Batman, The Dark Knight, I don't see any of the good guys with dark in their name. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're admitting he's the villain and you're cheering for the villain.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dark Brandon
I've
does not associate with the hero name.
yeah, I've seen a lot of the, you know, at least the left has had a little bit of humor here in some regard, I guess. I've found the Dark Brandon stuff to be very cringe. I'm willing to call a spade a spade when I see it. And if the left or these shit libs do something funny, I'm willing to say that it is funny. But a lot of the Dark Brandon shit has been cringe as fuck.
It's
like last week,
weird.
remember John Fetterman? We thought that was funny. His
Yeah.
video about him not being a clone. Like, yeah, it was fucking funny. There's nothing wrong with things being funny, but the Dark Brandon shit's not a great nickname. It is kind of cringe. And you're right. There is like, it's like an evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know one Trumper or Republican who is butthurt by.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I think it's more confusion than anything else.
Could be. Yeah. From Dark Brandon himself. Yeah. All right.
Fucking idiots.
All right. So I got, this is an interesting one. And this is from Chelsea Clinton, where she says,
"Oh boy,
over 50% of the attempted book bans last year involved books with LGBTQ plus characters and themes. Books are a vital way that children, adolescents, and adults learn about themselves and our world. Bans such as these are nothing but harmful." And she shares an NBC News link to an article, and the cover photo is of the book Gender Queer. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the book Gender Queer, or if anybody listening is familiar with the book Gender Queer. But Gender Queer is basically exactly what everyone is annoyed about. Seth Dillon from Babylon Bee shared, he goes, "Satan and I think kids should have access to porn." Chelsea Clinton. If this might be even too, like, you know, this might be too graphic for YouTube. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you watch Gender Queer, it is a book for children, and it depicts like anal sex between boys, butt plugs, strap-ons, young children sucking each other's dicks. It's really something to see. I mean, she even got community noted here about it, but it's really something to see. Like, that's the book you choose to try and push your agenda. Like, you know, did Chelsea Clinton read that? Probably not. She just toeing the line and, you know, hitting the talking points. But this tweet, this book, this thing encapsulates everyone's problem with what's going on. It's not about LGBTQ people. It's about the sexualization of children. And this book is tremendously sexualizing children in an exotic, pornographic way. And it's being distributed to them to watch. And people are like holding this book up as a sort of virtuous signal when it encapsulates the whole problem to begin with. And in a sense, kind of how like both sides are almost talking past each other on the issue.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you have to sacrifice small children so your mother could stay alive another 100 years to rule the galaxy, you know, I understand where she's coming from. But you can't, you look at this and I just have one word: groomer. Groomer. You're right. Groomer. I hope it's a term of hatred. I hope these words are literal violence. You're a groomer. You're a groomer. It's to the point where I'm pretty sure, I think me and you spoke about it last week, when, you know, DeSantis brought back the death penalty for anybody who abuses children. There's people against that. What a weird flex. You don't want anything bad to happen to people who abuse children. What a weird flex. This is the book you want children reading. What a weird fucking flex, Val.
Just like we said last week, after that's like, yeah, you're right. Like, me and you, it's almost not in our nature to be mean, like we've said before. But yes, like, no, yes, you're a groomer, Chelsea Clinton. Stop giving these people the benefit of the doubt, like I even did before that. Maybe she didn't read the book or anything like that. No, she probably did. And this is all like a calculated move to like propagate this fucking sick shit on children. So fuck you, Chelsea Clinton.
You know, I was thinking of something the other day. When me and you were growing up, we had, you know, all the rap albums and stuff. My mother wouldn't let me buy the CDs that had the parental advisory sticker on them because there was curse words in the music. We went from that to what, 20 years later?
Yeah, pornographic
about butt plugs and oral sex.
Between children, by the way, like in the book. Again, if it wasn't clear enough for you guys, in the book, it's not oral sex and butt plugs between adults, and then the book's being given to children to read. It's oral sex, butt plugs, etc., between children.
Yeah.
And then the book is also then being given to children to read on top of that. So yeah,
not weird at all.
Who's on board with,
all.
what sane, normal fucking person is on board with that?
This, I think, is the Biden tweet. Oh, no, this was pretty good. Your cousin sent me this. I hear House Republicans out on TV saying they would never vote to cut veterans' benefits. In case there's any confusion, I made a little chart that could help them. Now, if you're not watching this, boy, you got to zoom in on that. Unless you want to read it, I can't see that worth of shit.
Either. Hold on. We could zoom. Oh, look, is it not zooming in? What is happening? It's not zooming in.
Yeah, it's going the other way.
Let's see. Maybe I could full screen it. All right, looks like we're not zooming. I could walk over there maybe. Read it. Yeah.
I can't see that.
We're getting old, folks.
Okay, wait, hold on. Did you vote for a bill that cuts domestic spending by 22%? Yes, and then there's an arrow pointing down, yes, and an arrow pointing down and no. If it's yes, it goes to another one. Did the bill say this does not apply to veterans' benefits? Yes, then you voted to protect veteran benefits. If you voted no, then you voted to cut veterans' benefits. First and foremost, I'm pretty sure this is how Joe Biden has ran his entire presidency.
Did the president legit here print out, he typed up a memo, printed it out, drew on it, and then pointed to it as some sort of legal evidence that that's what Republicans are doing?
And what he is referencing is what the Democratic Party is so masterful at. We are about to default. The economy is about to go belly up. And the Republicans, as you probably understand too, Skaggs, we need to make cuts everywhere we can to save money, to reallocate that money. We need to start saving money where we can.
Yeah, even their shitty attempt at fiscal responsibility.
Yeah. And then, you're right. It's not a good attempt. And so therefore, instead of explaining that, Joe Biden puts veterans on the chopping block and saying, oh, look, we're going to cut benefits. This is what they want, just to make Republicans look bad. But the alternative is if we don't cut anything, how do we fix this problem? If no prices go up, if no money is made, how do we fix this problem?
Yeah, for what it's worth, I haven't dived that deep into this veterans thing, but I have seen Anna Paulina Luna talk about it, and she's basically saying it's complete horseshit. The cuts to veterans spending are not on the table, but you can see you're right how Biden and DNC would use this as leverage to get the debt ceiling raised, because they're going to lean on the rah conservative, you got to support the veterans no matter what. And if the conservative base gets a whiff that their Republican people did something to offend veterans, they're going to feel pressure that they'll get voted out of office. So even if it's not true, it'll make them kind of capitulate. Just fucking whatever. Just sign the debt ceiling limit raise. We've done it 10 trillion times or whatever. That's how this shit works. It's all fucking phony. It's not real. I mean, like I said before, this is he literally went on Microsoft Word, typed in some stuff with the letterhead of the White House,
and then drew arrows,
drew on it, and he's trying to present this as if it's some sort of
dude. I'm telling you something. This is how Biden runs the entire country.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes, no charts.
Yep. All right, we're gonna go with your last tweet, and then we're gonna go into the meat and potatoes of Monterey after this. All right.
Good old Hillary Clinton. She is deeply, deeply concerned by the passing of the world's most extreme anti-LGBTQ legislation by not the American parliament, the Ugandan parliament. The bill threatens the basic human rights of all Ugandans and puts the lives of LGBTQ people and their defenders at Frank Mugasha at grave risk. Bitch, we do not control Uganda. You do not control Uganda. Uganda is not our problem. It is not a bordering nation. This is what a majority of the Ugandan people voted for. Their civil basic liberties are not our problem. Worry about America.
Aren't they supposed to be pro-democracy? Isn't Hillary Clinton supposed to be pro-democracy right now? If this is what the Ugandan people voted for. Isn't that democracy, right?
That's
hang on,
is the thing.
They don't support democracy?
Only when it's in their favor. This is what people don't understand. They hear LGBTQ and extreme anti-legislation, but they're forgetting that Uganda is a different place than America. Ugandans are by nature, their culture by nature is anti-gay. All Hillary Clinton should be worrying about is if our parliament and our Congress starts creating bills that are extremely anti-LGBTQ, and they're not. So you're good. You're sticking your nose where it doesn't fucking belong.
Hillary Clinton is a neocon warmonger, right? And this is the language that they use around every country who doesn't do what they want. Like she's used the same rhetoric around Afghanistan, and oh my god, the treatment of women by the Taliban, they can't go to school. And that's why, and they're not like outright saying it, but that's some sort of like moral justification over why we have to go to war with these people and topple their governments and then put puppet governments in place. If you're familiar with Uganda at all, it has not been a friendly regime to the United States ever. It's always been combative. It's always been a place that just does not get along with us. Has been pro-Palestine. Has been always just a violent place.
They hate the trans agenda,
right? Exactly. You think Hillary Clinton gives a flying fuck about LGBTQ rights in Uganda? No, Hillary Clinton cares about toppling the Ugandan government and putting a puppet government in place that will do whatever the United States empire wants to do. Counter the fucking Russian spread, the Chinese spread in Africa, whatever. That's what they want. They don't care about these rights, and they don't care how many fucking people will get killed in the wars that follow.
Exactly.
For them to fight it.
Question for you, and then we can move on. So with the social climate that has been taking place with these LGBTQ agendas, these trans agendas, it's a very high valued agenda. I know I keep using that word, but it's valued highly in the establishment circle, in the elitist warmongering circles. Do you think the way things are going in the current state, that in the near future, these could be terms of starting a war? Because we're on this whole words are violence things. You can't be anti-gay. Like if a nation becomes anti-gay, would that eventually in the future be grounds for an invasion?
I think they already are grounds for an invasion. What is Hillary Clinton doing right now? That's the sort of rhetoric she's spewing, that Uganda, no good. They're anti-gay. Therefore, again, like I said before, it's not outright said, but that's what's implied. That, hey, we will come, we will topple your government if you don't do what we say, and it'll be, and the shield of LGBTQ rights will be used to do that. And again, she doesn't care about that. They care about putting a puppet government in place that will do what they want. Because I know the Ugandan government does not do what the United States government wants it to do. That's it. That's as simple as it is. So no, it's not possible in the future. The future is now. That's exactly what's happening.
All right.
So this is going to be our last point of the episode. It is interesting in the libertarian sphere. We're going to get a little bit ideological here, perhaps. And this is, again, like I was saying, one of our favorite people in the libertarian world, in the gun world. Maj Touré, he is the founder of Black Lives Matter. For some real quick,
Black Guns Matter, right?
Sorry, Black Guns Matter. Sorry. For some real quick context, he was at a Mises Caucus event over the weekend, and like a trans protester came and started like yelling at him, and he went off. Like he went off on the person, like got in their face, yelling at them, making good points in a sense, but in his Maj Touré, very aggressive sort of style way.
Only gonna get worse from here.
And then he tweeted after. He goes, Maj Touré tweeted, "If you do a drag queen story hour for children in my community, I'm gonna pull up and assault you. I'll be arrested. By the time I bail out and you reschedule another one, I'll pull up again, smack the fuck out of you once more, because I don't give a fuck. Hashtag bail money on deck." So he got suspended and kicked off of Twitter for this, because it is true. It is basically a direct call to violence against another person, which is against the rules on social media. This has kind of sparked a huge debate in the libertarian retard autist world, where people tend to not live in the real world. They tend to live in that ideological world. Me and you will go back and forth on it, but some libertarians are saying, like more of the Mises Caucus guys that are more in our camp are saying, like, he's got a good point, right? Like this is some crazy behavior towards children, and people of the community should step up and defend children. Other libertarians are like, this is a violation of the non-aggression principle, right? Which you're not familiar with. You can't use force or an act of aggression against somebody to achieve like a political end.
Right.
Where do you kind of fall on that, Cap? Because
And
I'm more
this
of a
is
libertarian, but where do you kind of fall on?
and this
what
is you know
Monterey did
where
and
the
said?
problem with libertarian comes into place. Action needs to be taken.
Remember too, real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off, but remember too, like this is one of the guys that we've been saying is like one of the libertarian people. Like when we're
Yeah.
saying like there's not enough champions.
Right. There's
Like
not
Monge
yeah.
is one of the up and coming champions now. So go ahead.
So first off, I find it brings me right back to Casino when Joe Pesci is like, I'll put your head to sleep and I'll go to jail. And when I get out of jail, I'm going to come find you again and I'll put you back to sleep because I don't give a fuck. I don't disagree with him. I'm not calling for violence. I'm not calling for people to be assaulted. But the fact of the matter is there is a number of people out there that do not agree with these drag shows, bringing children to drag shows. Nobody had a problem with drag shows until children were involved. And I think, it's time to be mean. We can't give these people the benefit of the doubt anymore, as we just discussed. And yeah, I think it's time to make it difficult for these shows to take place. If you're a library or you're a restaurant or you're a venue that is thinking of holding, a drag event for children, you should be worried what's going to happen to your storefront. You should be. There needs to be a precedent set. We as a nation, we the people it's going to get uglier. And I've been trying to say this, that the poor LGBT community is going to take the grunt of all this aggression because their communities have been hijacked by the establishment to push this agenda. But we need to make this more difficult. We have to if we want it's a cultural war, right? We're at war for culture. Okay, well, there's got to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. And if we want to win, we're going to have to make it hard for them.
Mm-hmm. And recent history has shown the other side is not afraid to use violence at all.
Yeah.
And people to apologize for it. But the way I see this is like, if this was me, I am not going to go into a drag queen story hour and physically assault a person, right? I'm not that type of person, though, right? Yeah. Like, Maj Toure is a different motherfucker compared to me, right? He's way tougher than I am. Now, wait, but now, I'm not saying I won't maybe go in there and be like, hey, this is fucked up, blah, 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 blah. Like, speak up against her, be like, this is disgusting, if it's in my own community. That being said, if you want to get real quick into the libertarian argument, I don't see how this is like a violation of the non-aggression principle, because if people are sexualizing children, that's an aggression towards children, right? And I've made this point before in comments, and people are like, there's nothing sexual about drag queen story hour. Excuse me. A drag queen is inherently sexual. It's a sexualized thing. So if a drag queen is the drag queen might actually have no like bad meaning behind whatever they're doing, like this one individual drag queen or whatever. But regardless, it is still a sexualized thing. Like a drag queen is a sexualized thing. Therefore, you are sexualizing children. Therefore, you are aggressing against children. And if you are an anarchist and you believe like in the magical utopia of Ancapistan, where we're going to have all these little tiny communities and we write our own rules and enforce our own things, like that's going to happen, right? Like if there's some drag queen story hour in my anarchist fucking town, yeah, people are going to probably show up and be like, hey, motherfucker, we're the police here. Don't forget, get the fuck out of here before we assault you or something like that. Maybe not in mine. Maybe we'll handle it a different way. I'm not advocating for violence against drag queens or anything like that, but I don't see it. I wish libertarians would leave the realm of ideology and just live in the real fucking world. Like you're saying, there's a culture war, regardless of whether you like it or not. The other side's not afraid to use violence. Are we going to defend children or what? Or are we going to just argue on Twitter about theoretical fucking scenarios that don't exist in the real world?
So you're not an angry person. You're not the type to go assault somebody, but you have a child. That child will eventually be in school. Now they're in the third grade. How old were we in the third grade? 5, 6, probably a little bit older. I don't remember. They take them on a field trip to some drag show.
Right. I'd hope that I know what the field trip is about ahead of time and not allow them to go.
Remember,
but you
the
bet your
state
ass I'm going
owns
to
your
say
school.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
like,
Well, yeah,
the state owns your
right.
child, and the school dictates what your child does. That's the way they want it.
But they'd
another weird flex that the school systems are like, no, actually, we own your children. Another weird fucking flex.
I would hope that they would have to disclose what the field trip is about.
Yeah.
But yes, are they trustworthy? No,
because that's the line that I'd be drawing, because that superintendent would be getting dragged out of the school for all to see.
Yeah, right. And we could theoretically get banned on YouTube for saying that.
And there's
keep that in mind,
neither I don't have kids and your kid's not at school, so there's no one to threaten. But yeah, I got you.
So the last thing I'm gonna share here is Mashere came back on Twitter, of course, and posted like his his flushing out of this after the fact. But yeah, like just think about that. There is a chance that this episode will get pulled from YouTube because we said these things, but I'm still gonna post it anyway. Because we've threatened the use of force to defend children from sexualized behavior and pedophilia. That could be seen as like a threat to violence, and not as some sort of what it really is like the righteous defense of children.
Weird flex, YouTube. Weird flex.
Yeah. Challenge issued to YouTube. So let's cap it off here with what Maj Toure had to say in response to this controversy that he sparked. If I zoom out a bit here, so we could see it better. So he tweeted, "This happened. Why? Read the thread and retweet solution."
Oh, he's on 5G. Goddamn.
Yeah. So he said, "When you threaten to defend children from sexual advances, the pedos rally to silence you. It's their chess move. The real question is, what's our move on the board? They galvanize swiftly to defend their sick shit. When are we going to defend our ways of life, values, and honesty about the lengths we are willing to go to promote our values? Now, some would say it's just a Twitter page. It's not really silencing you. And I get what they mean, but they aren't getting the point. The point is people who want to share sexually explicit things are galvanizing to remove any resistance to their agenda. Was my tweet aggressive? Yes. We should be aggressive in defense of our babies. But the fact that in less than 24 hours, these people got my account removed speaks to the organized capacity to defend their desires. That's what a good chess player does, weirdo or not. They are this open because they are working. They're working while we have been quiet and not galvanizing. Taking away one page is easy when you know most of the other men will be silent. We must be more organized, vocal, and vigilant in defense of our babies, lifestyles, and sane culture. They are circling the wagons. What are we going to do about it? I thought that was well put, and that's kind of exactly what we're saying here as well. There's a chance that this could get pulled on YouTube just because we've spoken out kind of on the side of Maj Toure. So yeah.
Well, then if this episode gets pulled, we know the executives at YouTube are pedophiles.
There you go. Yeah.
And on that
Rumble, go to Rumble, to Rumble, subscribe to our Rumble channel just in case. Subscribe to our Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the other places, Cloud Hub. We put the show there that it can be found because we got one strike. And we are not in the good graces of YouTube at the moment. TikTok, we won't be long for most of these platforms that are pedophile ran. So go subscribe to all of them. This way, when we get erased, we get vaporized, as they say in 1984. You will find us elsewhere on the other platforms.
Yes, sir. Can't wait for that class action lawsuit, YouTube. All right, Doom Nation. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. We certainly did. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It is super important to get this message out. It is what you can do to help make us progress. I guess, be progressive.
Educate yourself, man. Yeah. Come listen to us two idiots educate you.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So as always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Doom Nation. We'll see you soon.